experts. Money Monday.
Talk about your finances and things related to your money with experts. So joining us right now is an independent retirement advisor, Gary Marriage Jr., who's based near Tampa Bay, just a little bit north of us. He is the CEO of Nature Coast Financial Advisors. NatureCoastFinancial.com is the website. And what do boomer divorcees need to know about Social Security? Now, I didn't think there was really anything in particular, Gary, that those people who were getting divorced needed to know about Social Security, but there are special things related to how long you've been married to somebody that really play into what your benefits are going to be, right?
Exactly. How's it going, Alex?
I am well. So tell me about this. What exactly is it that boomer divorcees need to know about Social Security in a time period for how long they've been married?
Well, here's something that they may not know of is we may be able to get them some extra income, which most of them, I think, would love to have that. And one way we help them is we do some Social Security planning for them.
And one of the things that I was seeing here was that if you're divorced, but if you were married for at least 10 years, you may be eligible for additional security benefits based on your ex-spouse's record. How does that work out?
Yeah, let me give you one scenario. Let's say the ex-husband is getting $2,000 a month. He's at age 65, collecting $2,000 a month. And now his new ex-wife is looking to, retire, and she's looking to collect on her Social Security benefits. Well, her being at age 62 is the majority of the people, unfortunately, that are looking at Social Security benefits because they don't think Social Security is going to be there, and two, they just need the income right now. So let's just say, for instance, that this ex-wife, her benefits at age 62 would be $400 a month, okay, and that's all she would receive. But her ex-husband's getting $2,000. Now, if they're one of the listeners on the show or one of the clients that came to our office, we'd be able to tell them that, look, you can file for half of your ex-spouse's benefits. So essentially what she's looking at is getting $1,000 a month versus only getting $400 a month.
Wow. And so those are some of those things you guys discover there at Nature Coast Financial Advisors. Again, NatureCoastFinancial.com. It's a Money Monday. Alex Hinojosa with Gary Marriage Jr. on News Talk AM 1470 WMGG. One of the things, too, especially when it comes to retirement, Gary, I think there are so many people these days that, wonder, like if you're my age, at the age of 35, I don't even know if I'm ever going to be able to retire the way that things are going. But then secondly, you got people that are 50 who it's probably even worse than because they're, at least I got 15 years to get where they are, but maybe they haven't even thought about how they're going to retire, and they're already at the age of 50. Is there anything that people can be doing in this moment or should be doing?
Right, planning. That's the first step. Speaking with a qualified advisor about, what their goals are, and then, we can try to help them reach those goals. But frankly, if we just wait for them, to retire and nobody does anything about it, then they're really scrambling. It's called retirement plan for a reason, and then, if people wait too long, then it's called what we call crisis planning.
And that is true. You're right, because then you're coming down into that last mode, and you're trying to figure out what exactly you should have been doing. How about a basic education for a moment? Not to use this and make this just all about me, but even my wife came to me the other day, and she goes, maybe we should do these Roth IRAs. Then she goes, well, how is a Roth IRA different from an IRA? And I go, well, that's probably why we need to talk to a financial advisor. But I was like, I know there's something about tax deferment. So what is the difference between those two?
Well, see, a Roth IRA is great, for the younger generation as well, because some of the older generation didn't have access to them. But a Roth IRA is great. You're limited to how much you can put into a year, let's say $5,000 a year. What the great thing about Roth IRAs is when they grow tax-free. So when you access that later on in retirement, all the growth that you've gotten in that account is now going to be tax-free to you. Now versus a traditional IRA where you're putting, let's say, $5,000 away a year, you're going to get a tax deduction for that. But the unfortunate part is you don't get the tax-free benefits when you retire. They're going to force you to take money from that, and then that is fully taxable. So those are the difference. So it just depends on the client and what they're looking for. If they're looking for tax deductions and tax savings, then maybe a Roth may not be something for them. Maybe they need to go to a traditional IRA or a SEP, or some business owners, we do other extensive planning for them as well. But both of them are great. It just depends on which one's best for you.
And I think that's one of the unique things when you're looking at retirement, especially as much here in the Tampa Bay area. Again, we're speaking to Gary Marriage Jr. He's the CEO of Nature Coast Financial Advisors. NatureCoastFinancial.com is that website. I think that's one of the things that's different is that when the idea of retirement or even Social Security for a moment, I think at first the idea is that it's one size fits all until the education process begins. Then all of a sudden, people aren't really aware of all the options they have. So this is literally a conversation I had with my wife last night. About the Roth IRAs versus the IRAs. Then I'm like, but then I hear about this thing that you do with life insurance, and then of course there's Social Security, if that's even around when we get that old. But is that part of the thing too? Is that many people don't understand all the options they have when it comes to their retirement?
They really don't, Alex. I had somebody come in today that was around the age of I think he was 36.
Right.
A wealthy guy, and he's paying a ton in taxes. And unfortunately, though, he's never really talked to anybody that was independent, like myself, to show him on all the tax advantages he has as a business owner and what he can be doing. I'm like, look, you need to be paying yourself instead of paying it to, let's say, the IRS. So we're showing him significant tax savings. $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. Okay. So what I explained to him is, if we can show you how to save $60,000 to $80,000 a year in taxes, aren't you gaining $60,000 or $80,000 a year?
Wow. And it's funny because I think one of the things too for so many people, and I'm not sitting here, just pushing anybody in particular, but it's like, all right, with our money, and especially I think this is really big, Gary. With our money, we're very protective of it.
Right.
And so, I think that some people are like, well, I don't know if I want to pay somebody to handle my money. But I'm always like, well, would you pay somebody to handle your car? Because unless you're the mechanic, I think you would defer to someone else's expertise. It almost sounds like it's worth paying for someone else's knowledge benefit, I suppose.
One thing hasn't changed, Alex, is you still get what you pay for. Let's just say, for instance, that, you were going in for brain surgery. Now, would you go to the flea market and find your brain surgeon?
Right, probably not.
Would you try to find the least expensive one out there? Now, I'm not saying the most expensive one is the best either, but, sometimes you pay for good service, and that's what we try to show our clients with our firm, too. But,
Well, I was going to say, one thing even, Gary, too, is I know this actually happened to me personally for the longest time. I'm not going to say which company it was because they might advertise somewhere along the line, but I would walk into one of those places where you could do your taxes, and it was like in a strip mall, and it would always cost me money. And then I went and I started paying a CPA, and before I knew it, I was getting back a lot of money. It was ironically enough, I was paying the CPA less than I was paying that corner store place. Hey,
yeah, exactly. And some of those people that that we call the fly-by-night, are people that just learned how to do taxes.
Right.
We see some clients that are millionaires that are going to them because they're trying to save $300, because, they only charge $99 to do my taxes. I'm like, but you're losing $60,000 or $80,000 a year by going to that person to save $200. If you go to a CPA, it may cost you double that, but you know what? He's going to show you on what you can do to help benefit yourself or your business and tax savings. It just makes sense. It
does. It absolutely does. It's a Money Monday here. Alex and a host on News Talk AM 1470 WMGG with Gary Marriage Jr., the CEO of Nature Coast Financial Advisors, naturecoastfinancial.com. So, getting back to just the tips and kind of showing off knowledge for a little bit, going back to the idea of Social Security even, apparently there's a difference between trying to get your money at 62 as opposed to 66. What is that benefit, if you will?
Yeah, basically what they do is they calculate what you're going to receive, when you retire. So looking at somebody at age 62, let's say roughly they're going to get about 75% of their personal insurance amount. That's how they determine how much they're going to pay you out for the rest of your life. But see, if some folks would just look into this and delay the benefits, let's say to age 65, they go up to about 90 to 93% of their primary insurance amount. And then some of them can wait to age 70. It's about 132% of their amount. So, roughly with these folks that we're showing that, hey, if you delay these benefits, did you know Social Security benefits basically grow about 8% a year every year you delay them? So what we're showing them is if we can take income from another account that's not paying you 8%, because it's pretty hard to get 8% right now.
Right.
Okay, so if you can pull it from an account that's paying you maybe 1 or 2%, take income from that account right now. Let's take that for the next few years, okay? And then let your Social Security benefits grow. So then when you're at age 70, now we activate them. And then, by just doing the math, and, Alex, math does not lie. So when we show them the math, they're getting an extra roughly $300,000 over their retirement years.
This is, again, why you want somebody that knows what they're doing when it comes to your money and your retirement. Hey, that is, I mean, it makes sense to me, especially when you're breaking down that you're not getting 8% anywhere else, not these days. Hey,
Right.
Gary Marriage Jr., tell us where we can find out some more information about you and what else we need to do.
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's www.naturecoastfinancial.com, or you can talk to any of our great staff at area code 352-794-6044.
And where exactly are you located? You're here in Florida, right?
Yeah, we cover pretty much the whole state of Florida, but our home office is actually in Crystal River, Florida, which is the manatee capital of the world. If you've never been up there, it's the Nature Coast, though.
Right on. Beautiful. And that's why it's called NatureCoastFinancial.com. Hey, Gary, thanks for the time here on a Money Monday.
All right, thanks, Alex. Appreciate it.
It's News Talk AM 1470 WMGG.